It's all good.
Learning to feel your feelings is important, but then suddenly the feelings become the driving force of everything. It's a very weird process.
I really want my mom to like do DMT or something. You know what I mean? So she can have like an ego death and then she can see what the world could be without all of that noise in her brain.
Yeah, or she could go into that pit and never recover.
Well, I guess that's the risk you have to take.
Not be the same person. That's always been my fear. Well, the main fear on any kind of trip is just that it'll be awful.
Yeah.
Just don't think I would have a fun time. And I know that there's different, all the different things bring out and about different feelings and insights. And it's probably LSD that I'm mostly afraid of. And then I just project that onto all the other hallucinogens. But
yeah, I feel like LSD is pretty harsh.
I mean,
but I guess I don't know about
DMT and ayahuasca. And
ayahuasca.
And shrooms.
See, shrooms for her, I want her to have like a intensity, but not anything scary. And I feel like mushrooms would be very gentle, which is good. I mean, I want.
I mean, maybe a room with black light posters and lava lamps.
And like Led Zeppelin playing.
Yeah, it could be good for her. A beanbag chair. She lays back, takes her shrooms, and just listens to the music, visualizes the music. No, I know you want some blurring of consciousness in the universe where the molecules lose their positions and you get the shit scared out of you in some sort of way. I mean, that's not necessarily, what happens, that you get the shit scared out of you. But what I'm saying is you're presented with things that could scare the shit out of you.
Right. That would scare the shit out of you, but you know that this is a safe place to be scared. And then you move past that part.
But do you know that? So again, just LSD. Tim Andrews' story about the hair on his arms turning into worms, burrowing into his skin sticks with me. And then my friend Kent, I watched him trip one night because people hid it in his food.
What?
Yeah, what a fucked up thing. I remember him
really
eating.
awful.
Luckily, I just got to it wasn't even a party. It was at like a friend's house with a few other people there. But his parents, the guy's parents, weren't there. I got there a little bit late and I sat down and they had been eating already. I didn't eat. And then Kent finished his meal and they all started pointing and laughing. And they said,
oh my God,
we hid LSD in your food. And
that's like illegal.
And he just hid. He was so scared all night. Like he hid under the pool table.
Aww.
And refused to come out. And then like the next day it was still going on.
God, how much did they put in?
I don't know. It must have been a lot. What a shitty thing. It's like the time I hit a pepperoni in my high school girlfriend's salad because she was a vegetarian. She went to the bathroom and I ripped up it was a Golden Corral. So I went to the bar and grabbed a pepperoni and ripped it up into little pieces.
Were you just by yourself?
Salad. No, it was with other people.
Oh.
Does that make it any better?
Well, yeah, because if you were doing it in a really shitty way to impress others, then at least that's the motivation. But if you just did it for yourself, that would be creepier to me.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. If you're alone and you do it, it's shitty both ways. But
it's shitty both ways.
But it was a similar thing. It's like hide something in their food, and then when they eat it, you point and laugh. Oh, vegetarian, huh? You just ate a pepperoni.
You idiot.
Yeah, it's insane. No respect for other people's decisions and boundaries. It's like, what do I care if she's a vegetarian? I didn't. That was the thing, too. I wasn't trying to prove some point. I just thought it was a funny thing to do.
Right.
It wasn't.
No, I got in trouble in 5th grade because this kid behind me at the lunch tables, he was wearing a bandana on his head. And I thought that was stupid. And so I was putting lettuce on his head. And he was getting real mad at me. And then I did it too much. And then he turned around and he like punched my back. Like boom, 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 boom. Like that. I'm like, yeah, I was being a real shithead.
What was really going on there? The bandana is stupid. Don't get me wrong.
But how dare you in 5th grade, like, try to be cool? You know what I mean? It was that. You're not allowed to be that cool.
Well, she got me back because we went out one night, me and my friends, and egged people's houses. And I told her,
and I killed her dog. I killed his dog.
Well, I told her whose houses we egged, and then she narked on us.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it turned into a really shitty thing because one of the houses, the people were out of town, so the egg sat there for like a week and baked, and it peeled the paint off of a car and stained the side of the house.
I have heard that can happen. It happened on Judge Judy.
Well, I still dug in when I was called out. It's not that I denied it. I said, yeah, I did it. It needed to be done.
It needed to be done.
What the fuck is that? It was a similar approach. This was early internet days in high school for us. And starting, what kids deal with these days with social media and people posting about other people. It was a relatively new thing. And these two people started what we now call blog about the school happenings, the high school happenings. And I got my own column called The Greg Gatsby.
Oh, wow.
Which makes no sense because Gatsby was the guy's last name. It's not like it meant the great Gatsby.
No, but it's nice wordplay. It's fun.
It's stupid wordplay. It's not good. But we would write about people and just put the first letter of their last name as the first letter of their first name and the first letter of their first name as the first. So it's
easy to find out who that is.
Yeah, so I would be Reg Gus.
Yeah.
And one of the things I wrote was called Lost and Found. And I wrote about a missing umbrella and a raincoat. And then I wrote about this one person's virginity and how it was lost during spring break and the last person it was seen with. So pretty much gossiping about two people who had sex over spring break. And I probably hadn't had sex myself. So it's all fucking stupid, driven out of God knows what envy. And it hurt the guy's feelings, rightly so. And it was a person I'd known since kindergarten. And he came up to me, and he was much bigger than me and could have kicked my ass. He came up to me. He's like, why would you write this? Why would you do this? We've known each other a long time. And I said, I have to write the things that people want to read.
Oh, boy.
It was my duty to report on this.
Journalistic integrity or something.
Yeah. It's like, what the fuck? It's like just a dick for no reason and no regard for other people's feelings. It's not, yes, subconsciously there was something driving it and I wanted to hurt these people for whatever reason. They didn't do anything that had anything to do with me.
Even now you don't know why you did it?
If we really dig into it, yes, it's probably I don't even have to dig that deep. The girl was somebody I had a crush on in 7th grade.
Okay.
And I don't remember at that time still liking her, but
Sure.
I had a crush on her. She went out with someone else. And then I hear, this guy's having sex with her. That's probably the basis of it.
All it took.
And bigger picture, had I had sex at that point, I may have. I can't remember if I had it was with one person once.
Right.
But so dumb. And he for whatever reason, he didn't smash my face in because he could have.
He was too hurt.
What is that stance? Sad. Egging your house was a thing that needed to be done. Why did it need to be done?
It needed to be done.
You're
a kid and you're like, this needs to happen. This is fun. This is fun.
It is all so fucking stupid. But that was driven out of a deterioration of our friendship, the person's house who I egged, because she didn't like that I started dating someone. And she and a couple of my other friends are like, that person's not good for you. And why they take it so personally and why it's any of their business. That time period just blows. But, going back to getting in touch with your feelings and understanding motivations, I think a lot of people don't move past.
No, they don't.
That time.
They don't. Maybe for protection. Maybe it did them. That coping mechanism did them well for a long time. And it's hard when something no longer works for you to change that up because it's become ingrained in your behavior, I guess.
Well, back then, it's all like a scramble for position in the hierarchy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's all it is. And you're trying to figure out who you are and where you fit. And I guess that continues. Like if I look back at my life outside of high school, after high school, I've always been, I mean, sure, there's been plenty of times I didn't like where I was, but in general, I've been pretty satisfied with the way my life has gone. So maybe, not to say I've been perfect and haven't acted out and been an idiot, but I think I've had a good grasp on where I am and who I am. No, I'm just a person who plays fucking games on a phone for hours a day.
That's everybody.
Fucking.
Is that bothering you lately? Is that freaking you out?
Yeah, just in general, that's why I'm growing these plants. I gotta get engaged in other things.
Yeah.
Life becomes somewhat monotonous. It's like you work, you play. What the fuck
games
is it called?
On your phone?
Cake Sort.
Yeah, what are you playing?
This game called Cake Sort.
What is Cake Sort? Is that one of those falling tile match 'em up games?
No, it's like there's a table with a set number of slots on it, and they serve you up 3 different cakes, and the cakes are sliced into like 6 pieces, and you have to complete the cakes by putting them next to each other. So you'll get a platter that has like 4 different slices on it, and so you have to find where to put that on the board so you can, once you complete a cake, it disappears on the board and opens up the slot. The fucking beauty of the game for the developers is it doesn't fucking end. There aren't even levels. It's just a thing that goes on forever. You're not really working towards anything, but the game itself is engaging enough. It's like, I'll just keep going. I'll go. Like they have side games that you don't fucking give a shit about. The main game itself, just play it forever.
Interesting. How'd you find this game?
Through an ad.
Oh no.
It was one of the
Have you ever played that one with the king and he's like, help me?
Yeah, that fucking the Royal Kingdom. I haven't played that. No, I refuse to play that one. But have you not seen? I guess you don't. You avoid commercials. I don't know how much money that fucking game has, but
yeah, because they have like celebrities.
Yeah, they had Jimmy Fallon. They had the Lisa Kudrow and Courtney Cox from Friends.
They did?
Yeah, they're like in it together.
What? I didn't know that.
They had Kevin Hart. They have a whole array of celebrities.
Weird.
Promoting this fucking game. The Monopoly game I played that I finally stopped, and the Monopoly Go, I never spent any money on that one because I figured out how to hack it like and cheat.
Yeah.
That game similarly has hired celebrities to hawk their shit, but that game's made over like $5 billion.
Wow.
And it's not even a game you can become good at. It's not like, oh, I play this and there's some skill involved, or I can strategize. There's a bit of strategy if you're trying to conserve your dice, and like you can choose to roll 1, 2, 5, 10, 20, 100 at a time. You're like, well, in certain situations, maybe I'll roll more. But that's like the extent of the strategy. Outside of that, it's just a fucking slot machine. You're just pressing a button. That's all you do, and dice roll. And mini games pop up sometimes. It's like, fuck. $5 billion that game made. And it launched in 2021 or 2, if I remember. So it's making over $1 billion a year. Some stupid fucking game for a brand that people don't even really like. Everyone knows Monopoly, but no one likes Monopoly. McDonald's is the Monopoly that people like.
Yeah.
Get some free fucking fries.
Yeah, you get fries. So I'm in, right? Fries.
Do you like real Monopoly?
I think I could. I never, nobody ever plays it because so we have Monopoly Junior. And so that'd be kind of fun sometimes. But Monopoly can be fun if you do it right.
What is right?
It's that whole thing where you have to, anytime you land on any property and it is not purchased, you have to purchase it or it goes up for auction. And then anybody can can bid on it. The way that people play it normally, and the reason why it lasts so long is because they decide whether or not to buy that property or not, and then they just move on. And so it takes a really long, like many, many, many rounds of going around the board to actually purchase a property.
Yeah, I went that boardwalk in Park Place.
Oh yeah, everybody. That sweet Park Place.
I have a very vague memory of playing Monopoly once, and I don't know what the game was. I just remember I liked the car.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. I thought, what a weird shaped car. So long.
So we lost some of the pieces. And so I have this like brass snail, and that's a piece that I use when we play. And Ellie's always the cat. It's her good luck cat.
It is funny how you become attached to certain icons, tokens. They call them tokens. That's part of this fucking game. You collect new tokens.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it's like, I'm just going to spend all these dice, and oops, I ran out. I'm going to spend $40 to get more. Yeah. I got to get that Darth Vader token because they just recently teamed up with Star Wars.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And that was the top prize. So now you've got Darth Vader on your board, and it only cost me, $120 to get it.
What is this drive for stuff like that? Because Travis started playing Fortnite, and he started buying all these skins. And he was like, why am I doing that?
There's something about putting effort into it, making it part of your identity, an extension of you, an expression of you. Something in there.
Mm-hmm.
At least with Fortnite, I guess you're already buying pre-made skins. I don't know enough about Fortnite. Are there ways to customize things? Can you create your own skins?
I'm not sure. I don't know. I bet you there's like specific things that it comes with, like maybe some. It's not like Sims, right, where you can like create a person. I think you pick people, and then you might have some options of things to wear. But then you can purchase like default little weapons, like where your character always carries around at least like a sword or something.
People are so desperate, I guess, to express themselves.
Yeah.
Or going back to what we were talking about, figuring out who you
they are
yes.
in a digital form. Yeah.
In general, representing who you are. It's been talked about to death, politics. Sure. I think on the left, this, being atheist used to be, I don't know, I don't really believe in God, but I still think there's a responsibility for me to figure things out and be a decent person. But I don't think a lot of people think that deeply, and a lack of religion in people's lives has created a void. And
sure.
Now they filled it with politics. What an awful way to...
It used to be filled with climate change.
Yeah, it's always some kind of cause, but the driving force, especially Christianity, is like, do good, despite all the awful it's done. We don't need to get into that, but do good. Look at, like, people need to be told, and there needs to be repercussions and rewards and shit like that. And so, yeah, climate change. Like, I'm going to save the world for other people, and it's going to be nice for people because of the work I put in. And it's the same thing with politics. I'm looking out for other people. It's like, no, You're just trying to fucking figure out who you are. And the fact that it becomes your identity is why it's so hard to change, because you have to reinvent yourself if you admit something isn't exactly right.
And in a very small way, I've thought about that, if I ever get out of radio, a big thing of, not a big thing, something about me is that I'm on a radio show, and it's more interesting when you're introducing yourself to someone than if you say I'm an accountant,
Well, it depends on who. If you go back to the days I was on 99X and 24 hanging out in hipster Atlanta, I wouldn't bring it up, but people hear it, and their immediate need was to put you down. I don't listen to the radio on that station. It sucks.
Sure.
But
and that's fine too, right?
But you're right. Like, being on the radio is a thing that not too many people get to do.
Yeah. And so it is an interesting point, to bring up, I guess. And so when I am going to be out of that at some point, like, what do you do? Oh, I do this thing that I have to explain. And it's like, someone's not really interested after you start explaining but they asked, so you answer it. You're like, okay. You know what I mean? It's just and that's not even a huge part of my identity. I don't consider myself like, I love radio. I'm in radio, even though I have listened to talk radio since I'm in elementary school. Like, it has been a big part of my life, but I don't really consider it a huge part of my identity, but it has become a part of me. And so it's going to be weird eventually if I say what I do and it's not radio.
Well, what you do for a career is always a thing too that becomes part of your identity, good or bad. I understand why it happens, and I do think depending on what you do, you've put in work, you made the decision to go into that field, so it does say things about who you are, and it says about the things about how much dedication you have, motivation. So I get why it happens. Radio, it's same for me, even though I don't work in it full time. I've never actually been out of it since I started.
Yeah.
Through my
but do you consider yourself like radio?
I think about when it's over, like, yeah, when the doctrine is over, then that's it for me in radio. I'm not going to pursue it.
No.
Again. I've just so happened to be in a spot where it presents itself to me. Like, I worked to get into radio. I worked hard. I got the break at 99X. Like, we were already doing the stuff on the Buzz, so I was on the air there. Then went to 99X, then came to New York. That station went away, but through that station, I met a guy who was doing a specialty show on the weekends, and he got it on, 2 smaller stations in the New York area. So I continued to do that, and that led right up to the show with Eric. So I had always, in some way, professionally been on the air. And when that's over, but I don't really talk about it that much now.
Right.
It's still, to me personally, it was a thing I wanted to do. I was able to do it. And also, it was a very disappointing thing ultimately, because the industry, as we've talked about, is absolute shit. But I'm glad that I still get to do it, but I don't really bring it up with many people because it's not my main job. So it's easy for me to just kind of tuck it away.
And the reason why I bring it up at all is because I'll do trivia and people will be complimenting me on how good at it I am. Blah, blah, blah. But then they'll say, like, what do you do? Is this your only thing? I was like, oh, no, I do a radio show. Oh, you do? Where can I listen? It's like, oh, it's in Atlanta. Blah, 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 blah. So it does come up. And so it's like, is this your only gig? Like, no, I'm also an accountant. Like, oh, okay.
That is the weird part, where you do the show and then people ask and you say it's in Atlanta. And they say, oh, okay. They're not going to ever seek it out. If it were local, maybe they'd listen. They'd tune in to hear you. And like, that's my trivia host.
It was kind of cool the other day. There were the Monday trivia that I do it's next to a hotel, and so there's flight attendants that are always there. Oh, because it's also near the airport. And I talked to some people who I'd never seen before, and like just chatting them up a little bit, because anytime there's somebody new, I like to talk to them to see if they'll come back. But they were from Atlanta, and we were talking about like Sandy Springs and stuff. And I was like, oh, do you listen to WSB? And they're like, oh, yeah, I love WSB. And I was like, yeah, I'm on the Von Hessler Times. Like, oh my God, I love Eric. Blah, 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 I love the British guy. And like, I was like, oh yeah, so cool. So it's times like that where it's like, oh, this is neat. This is a neat thing.
Did they know you?
Yeah, they did.
Because sometimes I find.
I know, because then you're like, oh, I don't know.
You're on the show full time, though. There was one time I was with Eric doing some Christmas shopping, and some guy came up. It's like, I love the show. And then Eric said, and this is Greg. And I don't think he had any idea who I was.
Oh. So embarrassing.
I mean, on some level, it's like, man, I didn't care if he knew. And now,
yeah, you didn't ask to be introduced.
Yeah, and now you put me in as it's nice to do it. It'd been weirder if it's like, yeah, the show's great. Thanks for that. And you didn't say anything as Eric. But yeah, it was just, it's like, okay, yeah, whatever, who cares? It didn't really knock me down because I didn't expect, I wasn't walking around like everyone knew who I was. But it's still one of those moments like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Even if you feel like you don't have an ego, there's a little bit of that, like, oh, okay then. I guess.
Yeah. But you're on the show every day, usually, even though you just disappear.
Yeah, well, sometimes there's nothing to say. Or there's a lot to say, and I know I'm not allowed. So don't say anything.
Sometimes I feel like you Well, I guess there have been a few instances where you have to leave like 30 minutes early.
Oh,
And-
yeah. I've
and it's
been
not-
really enjoying that, actually, because then I don't have to broadcast from the car.
And then there's other times I wonder if you're even on the show. It's like, oh, no, you're there.
Yeah, but it's just, lots of ranting and then Jared talking. And it's like,
Late stage doctrine.
it is.
People talk about late stage capitalism. We're at the late stage doctrine.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Where it's like, I'm just going to ride this out to the end of my career. Whatever. You want to talk a lot, Jared? You want to steer things? You want to force in audio?
He sure does like to do that.
What do I care? I got 3 more years. How long do you think it's going to be?
I don't imagine that he won't sign again.
I think he wants to get
he'll do
to
it.
65, right? So that would put him at 63. Does he do a 2-year contract? Does he do a 3 at that point? All right, maybe it's not over as soon as you thought.
Yeah.
It'll carry you to
but
50.
honestly, I'm not retiring at 50, so I got to keep working.
Yeah, what's Tim going to do next? Maybe I'll stay in radio. Maybe Tim will get a show. He needs me.
Well, I mean, that could be something that happens. I mean, I think, Ken does, our program director does like when it's the 3 of us. He likes when it's 2 of us.
Does he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he doesn't like it when I'm on there. Whatever. Never spoken to the guy.
Yeah. I mean, bless him. I mean, he would, I don't know how he would treat you, because I don't know how he feels about you at all. Do you know?
No, I have no clue. I don't know. All I know
no one's
is
ever said anything?
No, I have no idea. I fully expect that when I have to take another break in my pay because they haven't hired me officially and I work for a third-party company, and every 3 years they force you to take some time off, which is already coming up again. I just fully expect it to never come back.
Right.
I'm surprised it did last time, but I think we just kind of found ourselves in a spot where it was lucky enough that people weren't scrutinizing it. So I just assume it'll disappear. I don't know if he thinks I add anything to the show or not. I could always do some outreach. The last program director, I did some outreach, and he was like a typical, I remember that guy. He wasn't around for that long.
Yeah.
But he just
he was real radio-y.
Yeah. So he's giving me some typical radio dude response. I was like, I don't want to engage with this. I was just saying hello. It was like puns in there, and I was like, what the fuck? Just saying hello. Why is it?
Oh, really?
I could look it up. I don't remember that guy's name.
Drew.
No. Drew was the guy after Pete. This is probably boring for listeners now. But
Sorry, listeners.
Whatever. I'm not going to look it up. We can move past this part of it. Who knows what the future holds? If the show were to continue, it was Tim. Eric retires. They want you to still do it. Would you do it?
If the pay was right and they put me under contract.
Made you an actual co-host.
Yeah. If they would pay me. Hello? Just pay me. We do pay you. Okay. Yes, I do get paid. But also pay me more. And I want to be under contract. That's not crazy to ask for. But no contracts.
What else would you do? You should be a flight attendant. You're talking about those flight attendants popping up. Start talking to them.
I don't want to be a flight attendant. Then I'm away from my family even more.
Yeah, by this point, they'll be grown.
Are they hiring middle-aged women to be flight attendants?
I think they hire everyone to be a flight attendant.
Really?
You don't talk about low pay, though. I think it's because all your expenses are paid, so they...
Oh, I think, too, though, you get, the longer you're there, you can make bank. But to start out, that's why maybe young people do it.
And you also get the terrible routes. I mean, I guess it depends.
Right.
If you want the short routes so you can get home, maybe that's the preferable route. Maybe the long haul routes aren't the good routes.
Do you think that's where the money is? Is that what you're saying?
I
The
know
long
for
hauls are-
pilots. I know for
Yeah.
pilots, when you work your way up, then you get the international flights. You get on the flights that are so long, you have to have 2 crews and you go sleep
Yeah.
in a bunk. I was watching the flight crew flying back from Athens. We were sitting right next to the bathrooms. There was another door that said, "Do not enter." And I was just watching every person come up, try to open it, thinking it was a bathroom, even though it's big letters and a big red, sign with the white stripe through it.
Huh?
Yeah, they were just completely confused. But every once in a while, the door would open and there were stairs that went down.
So cool.
And so I looked up videos. I mean, it's not glamorous down there by any means, but I watched videos on the Airbus A320 and the cabin crew. And, they have a chair down there,
Mhm.
a jump seat.
Chair.
It's a jump seat. And then they
Uh-huh.
have, their bunks. There's no windows.
Right. But they can nap.
Yeah, it's a nice place to retreat. I would love
Mhm.
that. I was like, get away from these fucking idiots. So then you hear the door jiggle every.
Right. You're like, God, these people won't stop.
It's
Hello,
not
it
the
says
fucking
not-
bathroom.
Sorry, I don't read English.
I got a dump.
I want to go down those steps.
Your chicken made me have to dump. Everyone eats their meal, and then they all get up at the same time.
Oh, God, that scared me. Oh, I think someone's here.
Who?
Hold on. Hello. Hi. I'm doing the podcast.
I'm here. So, Dad told me to help you, even though I'm just here to help Elliot. And I had to-
Why are you breathing like
I
that?
ran fast.
Okay. I'm not prepared to give you a task at this moment. Baby, no.
I think I could walk.
Do you want to walk, baby?
Yeah,
I would love that.
I texted you that.
Oh, sorry, I've been busy because I'm doing the show.
That's fine.
Okay. I'm not in the radio show, but the podcast.
Okay. I'll get someone.
Okay.
My brother's dying.
It's the summer, so the kids are around.
I was going to say
And-
that's a good task. I was going to say he can walk the dog. I mean, that's what she said.
Walk the dog.
Take the dog out, get it some exercise, let it prance around.
It is cute. He does like to prance around. He finds a stick and then he hops around with it because he's so proud.
He goes in the tall grass and can barely be seen.
He does. It's cute. Anyway, yeah, I don't think I'd want to be a flight attendant. Would you want to be a flight attendant?
Not an attendant, because people treat them like they're there to serve food. That's not their real job. Their real job is safety. But yes, they do pass out drinks and food. And the fact that so many people aren't appreciative of that and do treat them as just waiters.
I said, no ice.
I was watching some video of a woman who got so pissed at a Jersey Mike's because they put mayonnaise on her sandwich.
Mayonnaise.
They didn't put mayo on by default. So it was clearly a screw up,
Sure.
but her reaction was out of proportion. Screaming and yelling and berating and calling names.
People are so strange. Why do they do stuff like that? Because they're like unregulated emotionally.
Yeah, there's just a lot of anger. There's no one reason or even shared reasons amongst people for anger. You could analyze that shit all day, but I don't know what drives it. I understand emotions can drive people. Sometimes strong emotions can run wild.
Mm-hmm.
And in the instances that has happened to me, when I calm down, it's never happened to the point where I'm screaming at someone because mayonnaise was on my fucking sandwich. What I say is, if it's something like, I don't want tomatoes, and they give me tomatoes, I'll pick the tomatoes off. With mayo, sure, it's spread on there. I would say, hey, there's mayo on here. I don't like mayo.
Right.
Can you please just remake this? And they probably say, sure. And if
She's
they didn't,
screaming at them.
yeah. Oh, it was like, you are less than human. Make my fucking sandwich. How dare you fuck it up? And then
Maybe and also I have trouble believing some of these things now, right? I'm so
Well, the
worried
rage
so many
bait.
things are fake. Yeah.
I think you can usually tell, though. People
Yeah.
aren't good actors. They're just not.
Well, that's
There's
what I thought about
always-
all that 90 Day Fiance stuff, and then like some of it's fake.
Yeah, but I think you can tell when it's fake.
Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes I can't tell.
Like the dude who kept going to Ukraine or Russia or whatever it was, and the women wouldn't meet up with him. Like, to me, that felt fake. Like, it was based on a real story.
Yeah.
Like, he probably was scammed by a woman. They're like, all right, let's play this up.
Yeah.
And then I know at some point the woman did show up. Like, she finally met him. But it's like, none of this isn't real. None of this is real. The guy was talking to someone. The producers on the show heard the story. Like, let's turn this into something more. And so they faked it. Or they leaned into it and
Yeah.
presented him in a more I'm insane and stupid type of way. I really believe that love's out there and this woman's real. I don't care what you say. And sure, maybe there are people like that. Like the one guy who thought he was talking to Katy Perry or whatever on Catfish.
Those catfish ones are so stupid.
I swear it's her. I don't care what you say. It's her. I was like, okay. There could be a person that was that delusional. But no, you're right to say you should scrutinize these things. But there are just a lot of things filmed by other people, which usually that also, when you're seeing someone else film it, it's very fair. It's like, oh, was this a setup? You've got a cameraman. But, people like to film everything. And the way the woman turned on the cameraman and went after him, it seemed very real. It seemed very real. And that aside, there's still a lot of videos of people just, you brush against someone's shoe and they lose their shit. And the next thing you know, you're stabbed. It's like, what
Next thing you know, you're stabbed.
I don't know what the fuck is going on with people, but there is a lot of anger.
We need another Ghostbusters too. We need to spray the Statue of Liberty for 4th of July with the pink goo that I guess Egon made out with or whatever he did.
If
make
only.
it, be loving.
Yeah, if only it were so simple that the goo was running under the streets of New York.
Your love lifted me higher.
That's the easier thing to fix.
Mm-hmm.
Every abandoned subway tunnel's filled with pink goo. Like, well, all right. At least we know what the problem is.
Yeah.
We can start to fix it. Instead, it's deeply rooted in psychology. It's like, I have no fucking clue. People feel like they're owed things. People can't get things anymore that they were told they could get their whole lives.
Yeah.
It's all real stuff.
Yeah, that's real. Yeah.
I did everything I was supposed to do. What the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
And then that leads to things like Man
Entitlement
Dumby.
feeling.
Yeah, Man Dumby being nominated for mayor of New York City.
It keeps bothering me that Eric keeps saying that I would vote for him. And I kind of understand why he would say that, but it also feels insulting. Like I would just vote for it because it's like communist or something.
That's definitely a reduction.
Yeah.
He said the same thing about me, but he switched it. He said, at some point in your life, I think you would have voted for this guy. And it's hard for me to say. Going back to 2016, when I was really into Bernie Sanders, but they're different people. I don't think I would have had the same excitement. I understand why people get excited. Like Bernie Sanders was similar to Trump. It's just something new and different. It's like, I'm tired of everything being the way it is. And this person can come in and just shake shit up. And that's partly what's happening in New York. The other part is the other candidates just fucking blow. Cuomo, Adams. And then, as I said before, the actual candidates who would have been the best, they just don't get any traction because they're boring, I guess. They're like, they didn't run a nice TikTok campaign where they promised all this shit they couldn't deliver on.
Yeah.
And that's what annoys me.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, they were like the candidate that I liked came in third, but it's like with 11% of the vote. It's like that's the person who would have been best at this job. But you're excited, and I think when things go wrong in people's lives, things they feel like they can't fix, the easiest solution is, well, the government will come fix it for me with one fell swoop. They'll just come in and take the sickle and chop everything down. And We can start anew. I was like, yeah, but the government is all of the complaints of corporatism, late stage capitalism. It's like that came because of the government. Yes, there are plenty of assholes taking advantage of that, and you can put the blame on them, but also they aren't the cause of it. They're just the product of all these terrible policies that allowed this shit to run wild. So you putting your trust in the government. But again, I get it, because who else is going to fix it?
Well, and we see so many examples of the government coming in and fixing things for the banks or fixing things for large companies.
Yeah, even the airlines, talking about flight attendants, the airlines get bailed out constantly.
So it's only these large companies that get to have like multiple mulligans, but citizens don't get that. We don't get that.
No, I maintain, and I know that this is a lot harder to execute, and I haven't looked into it so deeply, so I'm sure there are flaws in it, but the housing crisis in 2008, when everyone had shitty mortgages,
yeah,
because they were just handing them out to people like me who made $38,000 a year, had no money saved, and wanted to buy a house on a whim. Also because that's what you're supposed to do. It's like, yeah, I'm going to buy a house. Like, yeah, no problem. We'll figure this out. Here's a 20% loan to pay the 20% down payment. And then here's the 80% so you can pay off the rest of the house. It's interest only, so you won't be paying any principal, and it balloons in 10 years, which means when the 10 years hits, you're still going to owe what you owe now, because those first 10 years are going to be paying interest only, so you'll have to refinance. Yeah, it was bullshit. I look at myself, though, and said, why didn't I do more research and know better? And say, this is kind of a shitty deal.
Ultimately, it is up to you, but also, okay, black and white, it's absolutely up to you, right? It was your job, like you said, but
no, you're being told you can get a thing that you're supposed to get when you're an adult.
Exactly. the I guess like it's indoctrination or the propaganda about owning a home, and that's the only way to have real wealth, right?
Well,
or to be able to
there's truth to it. I wouldn't call it propaganda. It was kind of cool that anyone could follow these steps and have access to housing. But at some point, when it became inaccessible, but you're still told this is what a marker of success is. So my original point was, when everything went to shit, and then the banks suddenly weren't getting paid for their bad mortgages, the government came in and gave the banks the money.
Yeah.
And then people had to continue paying for their mortgages. So the bank got that money too. Mm-hmm. Why couldn't you give the money you were going to give to the banks anyway to the people first? Right. With the caveat that you have to spend this. Now, again, how do you track that? How do you force someone to spend it? It's a lot to figure out logistically, and I'm sure. But that aside, I feel like you could figure out. You get the money.
The government can do a lot of things when it benefits them.
Yeah, so you get the money for your mortgage. You give that to the banks. In essence, you pay for your house. The banks get their money, and then everyone benefits. But to give the banks the money, and then you have to continue paying your mortgage so that they get more money. Yeah, what the fuck? What is this? If you're going to do a bailout, bail everyone out.
It's obvious corruption.
There is a real, if this fails, we're fucked to it all. So you do have to find a way to bail out the banks. I
understand why they did it. They felt like they were trying to protect like this established industry.
Well, you can't have the whole financial system collapse, because then it's bad for everyone. So you do have to figure out a solution. But it does suck when it's, hey, you created this by being greedy as fuck.
Yeah. And now, not only that, but now you don't have to endure any of the consequences.
Well, people should have gone to jail. More people. Mm-hmm. A lot of people. And instead, they didn't. And then they put regulations in place. And I knew it was harder to get, a mortgage for a while, but they're always going to find a way. Mm-hmm. They'll always figure out a way to.
Life finds a way.
So, I don't know, when people can't get what they think they were supposed to have, and there is a sense of entitlement, but there's also, hey, I did everything I was supposed to do and I have nothing to show for it. What the fuck's up with this? When the middle class is being eradicated, it does breed resentment and anger and helplessness. And what are you supposed to do? And so you have somebody who comes in and says, I'll freeze the rents and I'll fix all these things and stick it to the people who did this or the people who benefited from it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay,
it feels
great.
like, oh, maybe some, like a little bit of justice.
Yeah, that feels good. I like that. Fuck you. And then
I'm
especially
not the only one that's paying for the sins of our fathers or the sins of just everything stupid.
well, white people in general feel like a certain sect of white people.
Yeah.
Speaking of sins of the father, the whole thing is my father and his father and his father have sinned, and I'll pay the price to prove that I'm a good white person. So whatever, tell me what I need to do. I'll spite myself to no end to prove to you that I'm a good white person. It's like nobody fucking cares other than white people, other white people.
Wait, what are you referring to?
I'm just talking about the way white people act these days when they're on the far left.
Oh, okay.
When they claim to be compassionate and empathetic, and they'll prove it to you by, you know, again, Ma'am Donnie was voted in by rich white people, mostly, not the working class poor people.
Oh, right. Not the people that what he's talking about will benefit.
Yeah. And so to me, that is a thing that ultimately could hurt some of these people because conceivably they have more money. And if taxes go up and they own property and some of these programs go through, they're going to be paying more.
Right.
And, you know, in their minds, though, it's putting it out there to say, look, I'm willing to do this because I'm not one of these bad white people. Some of it feels like a test. It's like, let's see how far we can push white people to like just hate themselves. Like this certain group of white people who are so desperate
we should be hating ourselves more.
If you can sit back and watch it for what it is, it's kind of entertaining. And it's like, yeah, look at these people. Let's just see how far we can push them. They're so desperate to prove that they're good. Their identity is so wrapped up in this shit.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. People's identity, that comes back to all of it, that people's identity are connected to the wrong things.
Well, you got to find it somewhere, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you do, but let's do it in a way that is constructive to your life, and is more authentic and honest than something that you can just plant your flag in and say, that's me.
I agree.
But I get that's hard to do. That takes self-examination. That takes, it's hard. You don't want to admit some things about yourself, possibly. You know,
you have to put it in the work. Easy.
Yeah, that's no fun. And it's like, I'm freaking out about the government instead.
Everyone should just start a podcast. Why don't you just start a podcast, Autumn? Makes you a lot of money.
Oh, yeah. Did you hear that yesterday?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just come on. Why don't you do it? It's so easy.
And then he always says OnlyFans, which I'm finding more and more insulting. It's like, dude, get over it.
Have you not thought on some level, like not like going all out, but it's like, just like foot fetish people, like trying
to... I tried. I was on Instagram. I made an Instagram foot person. All you get is spam. You just get like scammers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really funny. It was kind of fun for a while. I'm glad that I did it because I liked talking to the scammers, because they would be like, there's men, there were profiles of men and women pretending to be men and women saying like, I'm a sugar mama, I'm a sugar baby, I'm a sugar daddy. I want, you know, what would you do with $500 a month? And, you know, send me this, but I can do this for you, but you have to activate it with like a $20 gift card. You know, it's like, wow, it's crazy. Like real scamming.
I feel like OnlyFans, I mean, it's just hard. How do you get seen? There's so many OnlyFans accounts.
I mean, I'd be lucky because I have, you know, people who I have a giant platform to say my OnlyFans, but I'm not going to do that because, ew, no, thank you. It's gross.
It is kind of crazy how much some people can make. Most people don't make that much.
No, most people don't. And I would have to like, you know, I'm not interested in doing that. You know, before when I was less connected, my brain to my feelings, it was, oh yeah, I could like compartmentalize those things and say like, this is just for that. This is, you know, but now it's like, ooh, no, I don't like that feeling that I would get if I did that because it's creepy and gross. So I'm not gonna do that. I'm not interested.
Not even the foot fetish.
Well, that was the easiest one to reconcile because it's like, who cares about feet? Not me. So if you like it, great, give me money for it. But it still is like, no, thank you. Oh, and also, it was not easy. It wasn't like, it didn't just happen. Like,
no, it can't just happen. I don't even know how you promote that. When people like feet, they still want to see the person's face, right? And they want to know what the person looks like. Or can you just show feet?
Maybe they just show feet.
I feel like you'd want to know who those feet were connected to.
Yeah. And I was thinking about like stealing a face or something and saying it was that.
Well, now you could just create AI.
Well, now I could. Yeah, it wasn't like that when I tried to do it.
The whole thing now. Like, you can look at an image and still tell it's AI. But
some people can.
It is getting harder to do. And yeah, at some point you're just going to have these fake accounts, like maybe the majority of the accounts. I guess there'll be like tests put into place.
I don't feel like guys would care.
What's the appeal in the first place? That they can win the woman over, I think. Like every guy who writes thinks some way they're getting the woman's attention, and they talk about compartmentalizing, can put the idea that she's doing this for my money in a different box. Or the money's the way to get in, but I can win her over with my charm. Or the money itself is how I'll win her over. I'll just give her more money than anyone else.
Yeah.
But I still think there's a level of I could have sex with her that drives this. Does it matter if the woman's not real? You're getting the attention from, quote, her. You're sending money, but you know it's not going.
Everything's about mommy. Everything is mommy or daddy.
But is
like
that
too much mommy, too much daddy, or not enough daddy? A lot of not enough mommy, too much mommy, or not enough daddy. There's never like too much daddy.
No, there's usually not enough.
Not enough daddy. Yeah.
It's usually the way it goes.
Daddy. I'm a good boy, daddy.
That drives a lot of just all the behavior. All the behavior we've been talking about. A lot of the anger and entitlement. And I think a lot of it is just lack of... We don't even have to say parents. Like, parenting is important because it's authority figures in your life. People who steer you and direct you and tell you, teach you. But in general, there's just a complete lack of that on all accounts for a lot of people.
Yeah. Hey, a lot of men are told not to feel their feelings because it's not masculine. You can't even sit down to pee without being called a bitch. So no wonder.
I've never cared about that. I tell people. It's like, I
know,
down.
But when you do, like on the show, they give you shit for it.
It's true. I guess it just doesn't bother me, but you're exactly right that people do it. It's like, who fucking cares?
Who cares? What the fuck does it matter? It's so silly.
Like, I stand up when I'm out because I don't want to sit on another toilet. But when I'm home, it's like, I don't know. It's much as you think it would be easy to not pee on the toilet seat. It's not. Something's always going to drip on the toilet seat. And I'm late. I want to clean it up. I'd rather just sit down and get it all in the bowl.
Why wouldn't that? Why is that a problem?
And rest while I'm at it.
Oh, take a rest.
But when I'm out, it's like, I'll stand up and pee. And I'm glad that I can stand up and pee and use a urinal. But
yeah, women hover and fuck it all up because it's peeing all over the seat.
Yeah, the emotional thing too. I think for me, the biggest thing wasn't that it wasn't masculine. It's like, it just wasn't logical. Like, quite often it's not. You can, like, if you analyze it, you're like, all right, emotions are logical in their own way. Like, the reason you feel a certain way, there's a logical reason to that. You may have to dig for it. It may not be direct, but it does exist. And I think that's what's really helped me, because I do like things to be logical. I want things to make sense. And emotions do make sense if you look deeper. A lot of times on the surface, because they manifest in different ways, especially with guys, where it all just turns to anger.
That's the part, right? Is that emotions don't maybe never, or if you dig in, make sense. But in the moment they don't. And if they're uncomfortable, then I'm not going to feel it. But that's not it.
I just have a hard time when things don't make sense.
Yeah.
And I think being able to connect some of those dots helped me understand my feelings better. I still, a lot of times, don't get me wrong, I still like, I don't want to fucking deal with this right now, these feelings. I still just want to ignore it and shove it down, or I don't want to do the work that's needed to fix this, but I also don't want to impose.
Yeah, because it's hard.
There's still a lot of that, but I don't think I necessarily avoid them. I dismiss them.
Yeah.
But I still at some point will analyze it and look at it. But I can't stand when things don't make sense.
Yeah, because then it goes away. It goes away from the thing that has helped you, which is logic, I guess.
I mean, it also goes back to understanding your emotions and being comfortable letting your emotions out is a good thing, but it doesn't give you the right to just let them rule everything.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of like what I was saying on the show the other day when Eric was asking about that article that he read. Did you listen to that part?
What was it about?
I was really proud of what I said because he actually gave me the space to say what I really thought, which was fun. But he read an article about this person who was writing saying that they find that people's personality traits are all being categorized into trauma responses as opposed to just people's personality. And, Eric's thoughts about stuff, right? Where it's like, he was saying he used to be more passive aggressive than he is now. And he's worked on that, but maybe he's always just going to be a little passive aggressive, and that's okay. Because he feels like it's a part of his personality. And so then I was saying that Eric works in extremes because he was trying to say, like, I never want to lose the appreciation for being able to, if I'm out of food, I get in the car and I go get food. That things aren't always as bad as, things aren't terrible for you because people have it worse. And I was telling him that, yes, you can always compare, right? But your feelings about something can still be relatively bad for you and still mean nothing to someone else compared to what they might be going through. And, he was saying like, well, at least I'm not a serial killer and stuff. It's like, okay, those are extremes. You don't have to go that far.
It also gives you an excuse. It's like, well, I'm this way,
you an excuse.
but at least I'm not this bad.
Right. And that's not, I was saying that it's about what works for you. And if your passive aggressiveness was pushing family and friends away, then that's something that maybe you need to examine and not just excuse it away as like, well, that's just who I am and people have to deal with it. It's like, yes, I dealt with it for a long time until I realized, what the fuck, I don't need to put up with that. And so I'm no longer going to deal with it. He just so happened to maybe make a shift in his older age, and maybe his adult children started to tell him like, yo, you're really passive aggressive. I don't like it. Because I remember there was years ago, he was starting to say that his kids were coming to him telling him stuff. And he was like, apparently I wasn't a great dad. Like, oh shit.
I remember this. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I guess he's done some soul searching maybe, but anyway, I don't remember why I started talking about that.
I think it's only so deep though.
Oh, because it was about people's, using the excuse of that's just who I am.
Yeah, you're responsible for your own feelings, and to dump them on all other people or let them be the driving force in your life that just spills out and negatively affect. It's like, come on. That's a lot of what I see happening too. There's just everyone's driven by emotion.
Yeah. So maybe it's become really isolated camps of too much feeling and then too much thinking. And then the people that are too much thinking see the people that are too much feeling, and they're like, I'm glad I'm not a therapy freak like these people. Right? And then the people who are too much feeling are like, I'm so sad and I'm upset about everything.
And it's easy for them to say, well, I care, and you don't care.
Oh, yeah,
cold.
yeah.
It's like, it's nothing to do with caring. Yeah. Like, I care just because I don't go around screaming at everyone who doesn't agree with the things I agree with, and then I get to throw at them. You don't care. You want other people to die. It's like, no, I don't. That's not. it's
Well,
like
even
there's-
voting against Mamdani might be seen as, don't you want these things? It's like, yeah, but I don't see how they're possible. So
Yeah, I don't.
I'm not,
I also don't want freezing rent. Sounds great, but what you end up getting is shitty buildings.
right.
When landlords can't
Yeah.
pay for shit, then the buildings fall apart.
Yeah, just like hey, we're running out of money, so let's just print more money.
Yeah.
Sounds like a great idea. Fixes a lot of stuff.
You fix the housing problem in New York by building more housing. Now it's hard to do because there's limited space and so much of that space has already been developed. So you have to knock things down. You have to
Right.
build bigger buildings. I brought this up already, though. The whole process, the permitting, the spending so much money just to have the chance to build, then going to
Yeah.
the city council and them deciding, no, all of that was for nothing. We're not approving this. It's like, so when you finally get to the point where you get to build, you've already invested so much and you want to maximize your returns. So it's expensive and it's not affordable. And then the idea is, well, the rich people move there and then the places they lived in become cheaper. And that never happens. It's not the way it works.
Right.
Like there are real problems. And yes, I agree with what he states the problems in New York are, but it's like, that's not the way to fix it. City-owned grocery stores is not a way to drive down
that
prices.
sounds real like Russian, like USSR.
Yeah, you're
type
going to
stuff.
have wilted fucking produce and lines and shortages of food.
Yeah.
It's not, and who's going to run it? And it's like, it's going to be so cold. It's like, I go shop at grocery store number 253.
Yeah.
It's like, this is not that the name of the grocery store matters. But are grocery prices a problem? Is affordability in the city a problem? Yes. Also, at the end of the day, it's like nobody really has a right to live in New York. I don't
Right,
want to drive out.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be a non-accessible city. I would love it to be accessible for people of all, social, economical status.
Yeah.
So I don't want to lean into that argument too much and say, if you can't afford it, you should leave, because I don't think that makes for a good city. I think having a diverse population is important. But, to just treat it like, yeah, I'm owed living here. It's like, you're not really, but it doesn't mean we shouldn't fix the problems.
It seems like maybe there needs to be, like, instead of indoctrinating children into patriotism, like with the fucking Pledge of Allegiance every fucking morning, maybe we should be teaching like principles and ethics, like driving that shit.
It's too complicated.
Because then you grow up to be a principled person with ethics.
I think it's too complicated because in all of this stuff, neither side is completely right and neither side's completely wrong.
Yeah.
And any kind of solution is going to have negatives, and somebody can come in and say, well, here are the problems with this, and this is the reason we shouldn't do it.
Okay, so
this
we
way's
should do
better.
principles, ethics,
Nuance. You want
and
to teach nuance.
Sure, nuance. But I think nuance would come with the principles and ethics sort of philosophy, along with like critical thinking.
I'd love it.
Yeah.
But when school districts are dismantling curriculum because some students don't excel at it, it makes them feel bad.
Yeah.
So let's just not teach. Let's get rid of the gifted program. Look, on some level, I do think, and it was kind of weird. It was like once a week in elementary school, I left my normal classroom and went to another classroom. And I was able to learn things and be challenged in ways other students weren't. Is that completely fair?
Right. It should be
and
the
right?
other children that don't have that innately should be maybe taught that.
But what's the solution? Should you not foster students who do show and need to be challenged more? Otherwise, they're just going to half-ass everything and still do better than most. That was my experience. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to try much, and I'm still going to do better than most. And that doesn't really set you up well for adulthood. Like that was the thing I had to go through. I was like, I mean, look, I started interning at the radio station. Not that working at a radio station is hard fucking work, but you put in time and hours and are willing to do the things other people don't want to do. And that was always part of what I wanted to do. And I knew where I wanted to go. So it wasn't like I came out of school inept, but there was certainly a part where it's like, oh, well, I can't just half-ass everything. It was a learning curve. So I don't know what the solution for it is, though. It's like, so do you not foster that in kids who show,
Right.
and how do you phrase it? I don't want to say that they've got like advanced cognitive skills, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Sure. I mean, it's okay for some people to be better at other things. People who are good at school doesn't necessarily mean that they're smart. They're smart in a specific way.
I mean, that's very true.
And then there are some people that have terrible home lives and then can't focus at school because they've got psychological trauma or don't have enough food or whatever. So it's like everything, once you break it down, is a very complicated problem to unravel and would take time and money. And so many of those things that take that time and money don't have funding.
No,
So-
and they maybe don't have people who want to do it because it's not worth
Sure.
their time. They just want to get their
Because
paycheck.
there's no funding because they don't get the money.
There's never any real right solution. There's not. You just pick.
So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to plant my flag
You just
in feminism.
you just pick the best solution and then work through it.
Yeah.
I don't know. The bringing down everything to the lowest level so everyone's equal. That's not the way to do it.
No.
Tying this back to the beginning of the fucking podcast today. It's like setting everyone up for success in their own ways. There's a path for everyone so they can all feel fulfilled and seen and valuable, knowing that it's like, well, I'm not so good at this, but I'm good at this, and that person's good at that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that's the way to go. And the fact that there isn't a clear path for most people, that's the problem. The solution is not, well, let's just fucking lower the standards of everything so everyone's equal.
I mean, that's what we were saying too about the quick fixes. Let's just freeze rent.
I mean,
Okay,
that's the
that's
easiest
not-
way to do it, though, right?
That's what I'm saying. These are the easiest solutions, and I guess we've been doing the easiest solutions for too long. Give the banks the money so that it can be bailed out and then fixed. It's like, no, because the other solution's harder, right? It's more difficult. It's going to take more time. It's going to take more money, more people, which is more money. So yeah, do the easiest thing. I will not do the easiest thing.
I
will
get
do the
it.
thing
I-
that benefits,
some point,
me the most.
at some point, you are exhausted. You're like, oh, whatever. Just
Yeah, that's what I mean. Whatever.
do the thing. Let's move past this. That's not the
The
right
government's
solution.
broken. Just keep being broken, I guess. What am I going to do about it? Vote? Pfft, what's that do?
Well, that's how I feel about the mayoral election. It's like, I have my feelings, but there's nobody I want to vote for. Not one of those people do I look at and
That's
say,
what I was saying during the last election. I was like, we should all be using our right to protest and not vote. People should not vote.
the problem is there's still going to be some people that vote, and those people.
But then wouldn't it be like, oh my God, there's a big vacuum of votes here. How do I get those people? And then the way to get them is to be honest and to be ethical and principled.
Yeah, it would take a few elections, though.
It would.
The first
Yeah.
one would just be whatever, and then you'd have a tenth of the voting population vote, and
Yeah.
they'd be the people choosing who ran the country. Second election, maybe it would only take one. Maybe after the first one, they'd say, well, look at all these people who didn't vote. Let's get them back in.
I mean, they were talking about New York and how a small amount of people voted,
Well, that's the problem in the primary. Like,
but that's a local thing. Yeah.
but I think there are 5 million registered voters in New York City, and not even a million voted in the
Yeah.
primary. So the mayoral election's the same thing. Part of it's an off-year election, so you have the big election last year, and getting people to vote in general, it's
Mhm.
a hard thing. So you have the big national election last year, and then you ask them to go out again this year. Not that it's a difficult thing to do, but like, I'm not going to go vote again, even though it's mayor and you think it's an important thing, because it's an odd year election. It gets less engagement, and historically,
The way to engage the local people is to put out like real advertisements that aren't like straw man arguments where like this candidate wants to murder children and put them in a box. It's like, no, just talk them up. Talk about how, like, hey, this person has some great ideas. They seem to want to do this and that. For me, I think that those ideas wouldn't work because of this, this, and that.
If I were a candidate and the other candidate made an ad like that about me, I'd make an ad in response like, I do want to murder children and put them in boxes. But what he didn't tell you is it's the children who are infected with,
I'm protecting everyone.
Yeah. It's like there are children out there who have been bitten by vampires and they're running amok. Just make some really stupid commercial about it.
Sure. That would get people's attention.
I think it would.
Maybe that's what will happen when like Gen Alpha gets old enough. They'll just start doing crazy shit.
I do like the thought of that commercial in response. It starts showing the candidate throwing a child into like a wooden coffin and nailing it shut. And then they turn around and speak to the camera.
Don't worry. That kid was infected. But this one isn't. Right, little Jimmy? That's right.
Yeah, I saved little Jimmy from this awful vampire zombie.
I almost got bit by that guy. Don't worry, Jimmy. He's not going to hurt anyone else anymore. Hi. I'm Greg Russ. A vote for me is a vote for less child vampires. Or like make a joke, like make a parody of an infomercial where like the person is in black and white and they're like, "Oh, my taxes, fuck, oh god."
And so like my campaign slogan being the least worst candidate.
Oh, that's great too. You're going to find things, just be honest. You're going to find things about me that you're going to disagree with. Hopefully overall you agree with the most of the things I like.
What's the worst anyone would really find about me? Like, yes, there's a lot of content with this podcast over the years, but what's the you really going to find? There are things, I guess. He said
retarded in 2003.
Well, the Futureplex, when I did the Futureplex in 2005, I did have a text-to-speech bot come on and say that word.
Oh, okay.
So they'd find that and they'd use it against me.
There you go. That's all it takes.
It'd be over.
One word.
Even though it wasn't me saying it. He programmed the AT&T
I just said it, so they'll find
voices.
me in 2025.
I know. It's so stupid that I'm not saying it right now.
I know.
I don't know. There's still some part of me. It's like, it's not worth whatever could come of it. Will anything come of it? More than likely, no. But could something? Is it worth it? Like my brain automatically goes to someone at work, like HR calling me in.
Oh, right. That is different.
We heard
that.
We heard you say this. It's like, okay.
Okay.
But that's part of the problem. That sums up a lot of the issues we face these days. That people, do we need to use that word? Probably not. But also, it had a real meaning. So.
Oh, I did hear somebody talk about, so his son is a musician and his other son is super smart and makes a lot of money, but his other son's a musician. So he's like, they've got an artist and like a scientist, right? And he called his son Guitarded because he's very skilled at being a musician, but in other ways he's real stupid. Like he said it was at a gig and he was setting up and the son was like in the doorway with his guitar case open and was like futzing around. And he was like, get out of the doorway. Like, what are you doing? And then he thought his son was just stupid or just being silly or whatever. But then the manager or something of the band also did something right in the doorway, like opened up his case and was like going through it. And he was like, what? So he called them both Guitarded. And I just thought that was funny.
I bet people ate it up.
It was just me. I ate it up.
Oh, was this not posted somewhere? Didn't have a bunch of comments like people saying,
no, this was in person. This was a real life interaction.
It was shows you what I think these days. People don't have real life interactions. This is
listen, the only reason why I did was because I go to trivia twice a week. Like that's the only time I interact with people outside of walking my dog and making small talk.
You may have said it was, but it's just funny that my brain goes there thinking it's an online thing. Ugh.
Yeah, it does. I could see why you'd think that.
All right. We gave people an hour and 15 minutes. I have to go to a meeting.
Boy. Thanks everybody for listening to One Topic, where we stick to one topic. My name is Autumn Fisher. It's a combo of the beginning and the end.
My name is Greg Russ. I'm not even going to put the intro at the beginning this time.
Okay.